Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
two certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only two best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go.
I want to start out by doing something that I don't think I've ever done, but that I think deserves a little attention. I want to give a shout out to 3 people.
I have
right now.
no idea who you're shouting out to.
I know.
I'm going to
It's
get
a surprise.
surprised with everyone else.
I want to shout out 2 of my former clients and 1 of my current clients. So I want to shout out Carissa and Emily and Carolyn, because all 3 of them within the past month or so have gotten a new job that they're really excited about. And 2 of them are actually doing like a cross-country move to get there.
Wow.
And I have seen so much like time and effort and faith and struggle and not quite giving up, but almost wanting to give up like a bunch of times. And is it going to happen for me? And am I going to get where I want to go? And I just think that it's really nice to see people actually like get to where this new level that they wanted to be at. And I also want to point out that for them, and this is like just as much a reminder for me as it is for everyone else, because I need this reminder a lot. What I saw is that they were able to get to that place while still having plenty of doubt, while still having plenty of resistance, while still not being totally sure how or if things would ever work out. And I think that's really important, because sometimes we think we have to be like 100% like believing in ourselves or 100% faithful or 100% positive in order to get where you want to go. And the answer is no. You can have plenty of doubt and you can give up about 1,000,000 times and things can still work out. And so I'm really proud of them and I'm excited for them. And I wanted to just say that.
That was so nice. I like that. We should do that more often.
Yeah.
I like this shout out thing.
Well, it took 3 people having a similar-ish experience at the same
You're
time.
like, wait a minute. There's a pattern here.
It's just nice, especially because especially because one of them was really working a long time on that goal, like so much longer than she wanted to be working on that goal. And I totally resonate with that. I understand, like, oh my God, can this go faster?
Do you think she would say the payoff was now worth it?
I'm sure she would. Yeah. And I'm sure she would probably look back and be like, I learned so much and I had to grow as a person in order to get to the place where I was able to get this thing that I wanted. And it does suck when you're in the middle of it.
Sure.
Both and. So anyway, I wanted to just say that.
That was very nice.
Okay. Wow, you're surprised that I'm being nice? Is that what we're doing right now?
No, I'm just saying it was a very nice thing to do.
Okay, sorry.
Testy, are we?
I'm sick. And you got me sick. I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, but now I am.
I knew you would throw me under the
Well,
bus.
you brought
I did get Rachel sick. And I feel bad about it.
She went on a trip, came back, and got me sick. I didn't get to go anywhere. And now I'm sick. Like, seriously? Anyway, okay.
You should be mad at the people on the plane who got me sick.
This was starting out as a nice thing, and then it, of course, had to devolve into this.
We should have expected it.
Okay. Again, this is not a new blog. This is an old blog because we are busy working on getting the people-pleasing course. Well, I should call it what it's actually titled. Getting Over People-Pleasing. Ready for you, coming out August 20th. So we just don't have time to sit down and write new blogs right now.
Plus, this is a relevant blog to that upcoming course, I thought. So this one is about, Rachel laughs when I bring this topic up, because it took me a long time to become okay with not liking people.
One of our other friends who is a massive people pleaser has had this realization in the time that I've known her in the past couple of years, which is, oh, I don't have to like everyone? Whoa. I'm like, was this ever on the table? This was an option? Like, this has never occurred to me to be an option, that you should like everyone.
I know. Some of you are going to be like, duh. And other people are going to be like, oh, thank you for that permission. Because here I was trying to make myself like everyone or try to see the good in everyone or give them the benefit of the doubt when you don't have to. And for all of you people pleasers out there, this is going to be a challenge for you. This was a challenge for me, but I'm going to give you this permission. And this is really about trusting your gut at the end of the day. We talk about judgment versus discernment and all the prickly fine lines between that.
Okay, well, again, I don't get it, but for those of you who need it, let's hear it.
Some of you will need to hear this.
Okay.
Why it's totally okay when you don't like someone. A couple of years ago, I was helping facilitate a multi-day business training. I didn't know any of the other instructors, so when I showed up on the first day, I introduced myself to the training team. I instantly got a weird vibe from the head trainer. She ignored my introduction entirely and started spouting off everything that still needed to be done before we could get started. Her frantic energy was palpable, and I could sense it was putting the rest of us on edge. She's probably just nervous about pulling off a great event, I thought to myself. Once everything's ready to go, I'm sure she'll settle down and be more personable. Don't think too much of it. But once the students showed up and the head trainer started her presentation, my uneasy feeling only intensified. Her exuberant positivity felt inauthentic and staged, and frankly, it made my skin crawl. She seemed much more interested in sharing stories of her own achievements rather than teaching helpful business concepts. And she would promise that we'd take a break in 10 minutes, but then ramble on for another 45, ignoring the restless energy in the room. Don't be judgmental, Kristen, I admonished myself. Just because she's doing things differently than you would doesn't make her wrong. Maybe she's overcompensating for some nervous jitters. Cut her some slack. Over the next few days, various things this woman said or did kept rubbing me the wrong way. And each time, I would chastise myself for being judgmental and try to keep an open mind about her. Round and round it went for 3 days. Until finally, toward the end of the last day, I admitted to myself, I just don't like this woman. Oh, it felt so good to tell the truth. It was such a simple statement, but for me, it was a revelation. And then came the guilt. It's okay to not like everyone and to not be liked by everyone. Growing up, I was a serious people pleaser. As in, I avoided conflict at any cost and wanted everyone to like me all the time. If a friend was annoyed with me, it felt like my world was collapsing. If I disappointed my parents or teachers, I was utterly devastated. All of that meant that I frequently smiled, bit my tongue, and remained pleasant even when I was about to spill over with frustration, hurt, or disappointment. I told myself I didn't want to make a big deal of it or cause unnecessary tension. But really, I was terrified of people not liking me if I wasn't perpetually pleasant. When being liked by everyone is at the top of your priority list, it follows naturally that you assume you should like everyone else too. So unless someone was undeniably terrible, mean, violent, cruel, that kind of thing, I believed I should like them. And if I didn't like them, then I was the terrible person for being judgmental. I'm officially giving you permission to trust your gut. A few weeks ago, I was chatting with some friends and recounting the story of how hard it was for me to admit, even just to myself, that I didn't like that lead trainer. Most of them chimed in with their own similar stories of guilt and confusion about not liking certain people in their life. We all had no trouble whatsoever responding to one another with things like, it's totally okay that you didn't like that person, and I don't like the sound of that person either. And not liking someone does not make you a bad person, and you're just sharpening your discernment muscle. It got me thinking, why is it so easy to give other people permission to feel how they feel, but we can't seem to give ourselves the same permission? I imagined a friend or client telling me the exact story I shared with my friends. I wouldn't hesitate for even a second before validating their gut instinct and encouraging them to trust their intuitive sense about the person they were feeling weird about. So I'm making a point to start giving myself the same permission. And for all my fellow people pleasers out there, I'm giving you that permission too. You are officially allowed to trust your gut instinct and not like certain people who rub you the wrong way. Judgment versus discernment. At this point, some of you may now be thinking, so you're saying I pretty much get to judge and dislike anyone I want? Well, yes and no. See, there's a pretty huge difference between judgment and discernment. Judgment is jumping to conclusions about someone based on very little or irrelevant information. It's where stereotypes and discrimination and objectification and overgeneralizations come from. It puts people into hierarchies and creates unnecessary separation. It's ugly and unfair and all around gross. Discernment, on the other hand, is an empowering skill worth honing. It's when you take in all the information with an open mind and then decide, does this align with me? Does this clash with my values? What is my gut telling me about this? Judgment is, look at her expensive outfit. I bet she's a real snob. Discernment is, that person uses disrespectful language that I can't condone. I'm not interested in sticking around to hear more of their negativity. Judgment labels things and people as good or bad, whereas discernment isn't interested in praising or condemning. It's simply seeking alignment or misalignment. Free yourself and everyone else. The more you let go of judgment and start to practice healthy discernment of everything and everyone in your life, you'll experience incredible freedom. Imagine if instead of viewing people, careers, opportunities, etc., as right or wrong, good or bad, you simply asked yourself, how aligned do I feel with this? That small shift could be revolutionary. When I look back on my experience with that instructor, it's clear to me that I wasn't judging her. I was simply recognizing that I wasn't aligned with her attitude, behavior, and energy. That doesn't make either of us bad people, just not right for each other. No hard feelings, no reason to be rude or impolite, and definitely no reason to judge myself. It's also freeing to realize that if you have permission to be discerning and not like people who are not aligned with you, you also don't have to be liked by everyone else. As a recovering people pleaser, this is slightly terrifying, but also such a relief. When you don't like someone, it just means you're not aligned. So if someone doesn't like you, it also just means you're not aligned. It's as simple and impersonal as that. I'd love to hear from you now. Are you a people pleaser? Have you felt guilty about not liking someone before? How do you feel about this whole judgment versus discernment thing? Leave me a comment to share your thoughts.
Well, if you're someone who struggles with everything that you just talked about, you really need to be considering joining us for Getting Over People Pleasing starting Tuesday the 20th. Enrollment opens because you're classic people pleaser. If you think you have to like everyone, if you're obligated to go about approving of the whole world, that maybe you mentioned this in your blog. I don't know because I haven't listened to it yet. But that I think is a sign that you expect everyone to approve of you.
I did talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, then that just means that we have synergy going on right now.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. Right.
It's like we've been working together for 7 years or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you feel like everyone has to like you and you have to like everyone so that there's always peace and harmony,
yeah,
that just means you're a people pleaser. And that's not always the healthiest way to go about living in the world and interacting with people.
Healthiest way.
So this is just a little bit of permission to start by not liking everyone, and that's okay. But if you need a lot more help than that, that's what we're doing in this course later this month.
So if by some miracle you're not on our VIP list for that course yet, go to the episode description and add your name so that when it comes out, you will get a little, first of all, you might get into it earlier than everyone else, and you might get some good stuff that other people aren't getting. Just saying that.
Yeah. And you'll just want to make sure that you get alerted as soon as doors open so you can join us.
And remember, we're not doing this like maybe not for another year. Question mark. We don't know. when we're doing
know.
this again.
We want you to think of this as just a one-time thing because we can't guarantee if or when we'll be doing it again.
Yeah. So, okay. You also put together a few episodes that people could listen to next if they're struggling with this.
I did. So if they're, since we're talking about people that you don't like, maybe you want to spend more time with people that you do like. So if that's the case, you might want to check out our episode called How to Find Your Tribe and Grow a Network with Carolyn Bursky. That was from April 2018.
And our most recent side chat, and actually it's not our most recent side chat, it's the one from June 2019 about honing your intuition is really important because if you're struggling with thinking you have to like everyone, what that means is that you're not really thinking for yourself. And you need to be able to actually think and feel and know things independently of other people, which is why you need to hone your intuition.
Yep. Also, if you are guilty of trying to think positively of everyone, then maybe you need to listen to our side chat from April of this year, 2019, about why positive thinking is mostly BS and not always the best thing for you to be doing.
Yep. I love talking about that because I think it's complete bullshit. And we can be negative sometimes. As you clearly see by my very existence, I'm giving you permission to be negative like a lot of the time.
I like shocking our people by being life coaches who are saying positive thinking is BS.
I love shocking
enjoy
people
that
in general. Yeah,
so
I'm on board.
We're not saying positivity is all bad, by the way, but
no.
We do want you to go listen to that because you don't have to be positive all the time. You don't have to think positively about everyone you meet.
Oh, God, I'm so tired of people feeling guilty for not liking people and thinking like, oh, I'm so judgmental.
Yeah, exactly. That was my whole thing.
Let's get over it, people. Okay, well, that's what we're doing in our course, so join us for that, please. All right, we will see you on Friday with a new Dear Rachel, the theme of which ended up being about choices. So what happens when you have two good choices and you don't know which one is best? What happens when you have too many choices and you don't know how to narrow it down? And what happens when you've made a choice that you instantly regretted and need to now get out of? That's the theme. So we'll see you on Friday for that.
See you then.